Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on March 6th, 2023. If you'd like to support my game, Decoding the Powerball, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, in this video, I'll be updating and making my picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is where I try to eliminate the numbers and try to get it down to the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so you can see that I have 5 colors here. It's red, orange, green, blue, and purple. And they represent the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go to the Powerball homepage to find out what were the 5 white winning numbers that just came up. And they were the 10, 16, 18, 40, and 66. The Powerball number was 16, but I'm only concerned about these 5 white numbers right now. Okay, so I put them on top of this list, okay? Again, it was the 10, 16, 18, 40, 66. And you can see as I have some colors to them, okay? And I get these colors off of the game card. Okay, so you can see this game card is for, it's updated for March 6, 2023. But how I got these numbers, how I got these colors, is right here with my color code. Okay, so here's the red numbers, the orange, green, blue, and whatever's left over is purple. Okay, so what I did is I transferred these 15 numbers over to the game card as red numbers. And then the orange, green, blue, and purple again. Okay, so why is this important? Okay, and why it is important is because with my color code here, this gives me double digit numbers per color. Okay, so you can see with this drawing I got 13, 18, 11, 14, and 13. Again, all double digits, and I get this consistently. Okay, so the thing is when you have consistency, then things could get predictable. Okay, so what I want to do is I kept track of 219 drawings so far, and a 3 color combination that just came up has come up 105 times out of 219 drawings. Okay, so a 3 color combination comes up the majority of the time. So what that means is 2 colors are not coming up the majority of the time. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to try to correctly guess what color group will not be coming up, and I want to eliminate that color group off of my game card. Okay, so what I'm going to look at here, the first thing I want to do is I want to try to correctly guess what the 5 numbers, what the majority will be. Will it be all will it be the majority of even numbers or the majority of odd numbers? Okay, so going down through here, I kept track of every 5 drawings so I could have a majority as well. So you can see the majority was evens, 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 evens. So out of these 15 drawings, the majority of the numbers have been even numbers. Okay, so I think that this next one is going to be the majority of odd numbers. Okay, so I think that this is going to read odds, and the one above it is going to read odds as well. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to find out what color group has the most even numbers to it and get rid of that color group. Okay, so I'll start with the red. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 even numbers out of 13 numbers. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's move on to the orange. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 18. That's not that great. Okay, and then the green, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's not that good. Okay, and then the blue, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 14. That's not too bad. And then purple, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 13. Okay, so the red one really sticks out the most to me. What was the 8 out of 13 numbers? So I'm going to go with red, and I'm going to eliminate all these red numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I'm going to block these out. And when I block out numbers like this means I'm not even going to consider these numbers when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so if I'm correct, and the big word here is if I'm correct and none of these red numbers come up, then I just reduce the odds for myself, giving myself a little bit better odds to win some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next strategy. Okay, and this is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so here what I did is, I guess I want to point out the 5 white winning Powerball numbers here. Okay, it was the 10, 16, 18, 40, 66. And this 3 represents that I hit 3 groups. Okay, so what I mean by that is, what I did is I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. And basically what I did here is I divided all 69 numbers into 7 different groups. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Of course, this is the only group with 9 numbers, where the other 6 have 10 numbers for 69 numbers. Okay, so how this works with the color code in the game card is, I want to point out these 20 numbers. Okay, you can see that these 3 red numbers came up, all right, and I'll explain what that means in a second. But you can see that a red number hasn't come up in a long time. Okay, in fact, here it is. So when I was doing my past videos, I was commenting on this, saying, hey, I haven't seen a red number in a long time. I think it's due to come up. And now you see that 3 of them came up. Okay, so this is how I use my color code. All right, so let me blow this back up. So I want to point out this 10 here. Okay, so the 10 came up, and I'm going to follow this line until I find the 10. And now I'm going to make this green. I'm making the square green because the 10 is green. Okay, so you can see the 16 and 18 also came up. So the 16 is red, and the 18 is blue. Okay, so again, this is how I use my color code. All right, so this big square right here, this is good for 5 drawings. And I made it 5 for a certain reason, so it would be easier for me to count. Okay, so I'm going to go back to those 20s with those example of the red colors here. Okay, so again, a red number hasn't came up, so I was looking at it saying, okay, how many drawings has it been since it's come up? So you can see I got 2, and then it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it was actually 35 drawings before the next red number came up. Okay, so again, this is how I use my game. All right, but since I did divide this into 5 drawings like this big square, what I noticed is that the average is like 4 hits per 5 drawings per for these numbers here. Okay, so I'm looking at the 10 through 19. It already has 4 hits, and again, that's right along average. So 1 through 9, I got 2 hits so far. The 20s, I have 2 hits. The 30s, I got 1 hit. 2 hits in the 40s, 3 in the 50s, and 1 in the 60s. Okay, so since I have 4 hits already in the 10 through 19 numbers, I'm going to predict that there'll be no winning numbers right here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the numbers at 10 through 19 off of my game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. And the 10 is already gone, so I'm going to get rid of the 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, and the 19. Okay, so I'm going to block those numbers out, and hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so if I made the correct pick so far, and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers still have to be left here on my game card as a highlighted number. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my next strategy, which I call the groups. Okay, so this is group 4. And it's simply called group 4 because I divided all 69 numbers into 4 different color groups. Okay, so maybe you heard the saying divide and conquer. Okay, so this is how I divide the Powerball numbers, all right? And now I want to conquer each one of these, okay? So I'm just going to update this so you can have a visual to it. Again, the numbers were the 10, 16. They're both in red, so I'm going to put a 2 in the red. And again, that represents the 10, 16. I had 1 in the blue, the 18, which is right here. And then I had the 40, and then the 66. So I had 1 in the orange and 1 in the green. So over here, this tells me how many color groups got hit. I had 4. It hit all 4 color groups. And the majority of the numbers are over here to the left side, so I'm going to keep this 4 red. If the majority was over here to the right side, I will color this 4 green, okay? So this gives me some separation, okay? So if I see something like this where it's been all green, well, I'm going to think that eventually it's going to be the majority to the left side here. Okay, but the overall strategy here is try to correctly pick where the 0 is going to be, like this right here. Now, if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers were going to come up in this drawing, I could have gotten rid of all these orange numbers off of my game card and gave myself a much better chance of winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so with my group 4, again, this is option card number 1, and I have 7 of these option cards to choose from. So I have 7 option cards. I got 4 options per option card, so 7 times 4 is 28. And if I could just pick 1 0 out of this, out of all 28 options, I'll be happy. You know, if I could pick it correctly, that is. Okay, and then I have an overview of what happened with all 7 option cards. Okay, so here in the green, you can see it was 7-0, and that means that all the green numbers here had a winning Powerball number hit to it. Okay, so here's the 40 and 66, and the 16 actually. Okay. So overall, I had 8 zeros total for all 7 option cards, and this 1 represents that I had 170 here. Okay, so you know, here's, you can see the 7 zeros have been pretty close to the top except for this orange. So if I could correctly guess that this is going to be a 7-0 here, then I'm going to look at all 7 of these option cards in the orange area and say, okay, I think there's going to be a hit here, you know. Or in fact, there will be if I'm correct. So I'll be looking again at all these orange areas saying, hey, I really believe that there's going to be a winning Powerball number here. Okay, so I'm going to move on. All right, so the next thing I have is group 6. This is where I divided the numbers into 6 different color groups. And again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that one of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so I have 7 of these option cards as well. And I have an overview to it as well. Okay, so the next one I have is group 8. Okay, so again, I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the odds of me getting one of these correct are certainly a lot better than group 6. Okay, and I also have a group 10, where I have 3 of these option cards. And again, I know that 5 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the thing is that with my group 4, if I could correctly guess where a 0 is going to be, I can knock out 17 numbers. Compared to my group 10, if I could correctly guess where a 0 is going to be, I can knock out 7 numbers. Okay, so, you know, I have much better odds here, but I knock out less numbers. Okay, so I also have a Powerball number 2, and I'm going to update this one as well. Okay, so I have a group 4 in here, and then I have a group 8. This only has 3 option cards to it. And then I have a second group 8, where I have another 3 option cards. And then I have a third one with another 3 option cards. So I have 9 option cards altogether with this group 8. And I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so I also have a group 10 as well. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to update this real quick, okay? Again, just to give you a visual. And again, it was the 10, which is in red. The 16 is in green. The 18 is in orange. The 40 is in red. And the 66 is in orange. Okay, so I had 2 in the red, the 1040. I had no winning Powerball numbers in the blue. I had 2 in the orange, the 1866. And I had 1 in the green, the 16. Okay, so we hit 3 out of the 4 color groups. And the majority of the numbers are over here to the right side, so I'm going to make this 3 green. Okay, so since I have 2 red and 1 green here, I'm going to color it a light red. If it was all 3 of them, which I don't have here, I would color it a dark red like I did with this green right here. Okay, so moving back here, if I got 3 hits, then I'm going to color this a dark red. Okay, so here I got 2 zeros, so I'm going to color it a light blue. Okay, so if I had 3 zeros here, see if I got one. I don't. I would color it a dark blue. And if I only had 2 hits and 1 0, I'd color it a light red. Okay, again, just to give me some separation so I could look at this and say, okay, what color is it going to be? Okay, so over here again, you can see that there was a bunch of green. And I look at this and I say, okay, when's it going to turn red? You know, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. It's kind of like flipping a quarter. How many times is it going to come up heads before it comes up tails? You know? So over here is what I look for. I look for something that's been really, really hot. And you can see that I got 15 drawings between each line. So I got 15 and then another 12 drawings. Right? For 27 drawings total. So when's it going to have a miss to it? You can see that the other groups had never gone that far. You know, for the information that I have. When is this going to have a 0 to it? Okay, so I'm going to pick this red to have the 0 to it because it's just been so hot that I'm going to get rid of all these red numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 1, 2, 10, 11, the 5, 6, 31, 32. Okay, so I'll get rid of the 1, the 5, 6, 31, 32. And then I'm going to get rid of the 35, 36, 52 to the 54, the 61, and then the 39, 40, 48, 49. So I'll get rid of the 35, the 52, the 54, the 61, the 39, and the 48. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my Powerball number 3. And I'm going to update this one as well real quick. Okay, so I got, this is group 6. I got 2 group 6s and 3 group 10s here. Okay, so let me update this real quick. Okay, so again, The 10 was in yellow. The 16 was in green. The 18 and the 40 is purple. And the 66 is red. So I had no winning Powerball numbers in the blue area, and I had no winning Powerball numbers in the orange. It hit 4 color groups, and the majority of the numbers were over here to the right side. So I'm going to keep this for green. Okay, so you can see that with my Powerball number 3, I got one number at the top. And then when I go back to my Powerball number 2, you can see I have no numbers at the top. And with my Powerball number 1, you can see I have 2 numbers at the top. Okay, so this one is the advantage. I got 2 numbers. I'm going to be putting colors to this with this next drawing. So am I going to be putting a dark red here, a dark red here, a dark red here? Or, I mean, is one of them going to be a light red? Okay, so since a triple hit comes up the most, this is what I keep track of. Okay, in the last 3 drawings here, I had 3 of them be a triple hit. And if I look at this and I say, okay, I think it's going to be the orange with a triple hit to it, then one of these orange numbers, or maybe 2 or even 3, will be coming up in this drawing. Okay? And the big word here is if. If I'm correct, and I think that there's going to be another hit here, then one of these orange numbers will be coming up in the next drawing. Okay, so I'm going to stick with this one here because it has the advantage. And I'm just going to go through these kind of real quick because I kind of use this at the end, really. Okay, so right now I'm looking to eliminate numbers. And when I get it down to a certain amount, most of the time I'll reduce it right down to 5 numbers. But sometimes I reduce it down to like 10 or even 15 numbers. And then I'll go back through my group 4 and I'll try to figure out where this triple hit's going to be. Okay, so again, I'm just going to kind of skim through these real quick. And if I see anything that really sticks out to me, I'll make a move. I'll make a pick. Okay, so again, this is how I divide and conquer the Powerball lottery here. Okay, so I divided, but I haven't really conquered yet. I haven't won anything like really huge, but hopefully someday. You know, the odds are just terrible, but for me it's fun to play. You know, so looking at this again, I really don't see anything that's really popping out at me. You know, maybe this thing right here. I do see a bunch of green. This will be on the green side. So I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be a red number, which means I believe that the majority of the numbers will be over here to the left side. And I'm thinking that this blue will have a triple hit to it like this. Okay, so I'm thinking that one of these blue numbers will be coming up as well. And if it's in this area here, then I got the 36, 38, 44, 46 that I'm looking at. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. And now I'm going to move on to better odds. Okay, better chances of me picking where the 0 is going to be. Okay, so again, this has the advantage because now I get to use these tools on the side. Okay, so this tells me how many blue marks I had. The last one I had 2. I have a blue mark here and I have a blue mark here. Okay, so up here I already have 2 zeros, which means I'm only going to have at least 1 blue mark. And then I have the orange and the red to choose from, so maybe it will be another 2 or possibly a 3 up here. And then I have over here where I have a triple hit or a triple 0. And if I'm going to be putting a 1 here, the only triple 0 that is possible is here in the yellow. So if I look at this and I say, I think it's going to be a triple 0, then I believe that none of these yellow numbers are going to come up. Okay, but I don't feel that confident about that, so I'm looking at this. I see a bunch of green. I'm thinking that this is going to be a red number. But for now, I'm just going to leave this one alone. Okay, so this is why I gave myself so many option cards. So I could look at it and just like cherry pick. Okay, so I didn't really like option card number 1, so let's move on. Again, one of the first things I look at is, hey, what has it been doing? I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be a red number, which means I believe that the majority of the numbers will be over here to the left side. So again, I'm going to be looking over here to the right side to pick where I think that 0 is going to be. And I'm looking at this red saying, I think it's going to be a triple hit. So I think that one of these red numbers will be coming up as well. And again, the 3846 is kind of, sticking out at me here. Okay, so again, I don't see anything that really sticks out to me about where 0 is going to be, so I'm going to move on. Again, I like to use this group 6 at the end as well when I reduce the numbers down, because the odds of me picking a hit over a miss is much better. Okay, so looking at this, finally I see something. I'm looking at this purple saying, wow, there's a lot of red here. I mean, it's going to be red as well, but it's just been so hot that I'm thinking that this is going to be a 0 right here. And I see all this red right here, but I'm thinking that this is going to be a red number as well. So I'm not going to pick from this one either. I'm going to move on. I know in the back of my mind that I have that group 8, where I have 3 color groups that I know that can't come up, and that's much better odds. But if I could pick something here, I know I can knock out a bunch of numbers, a bunch more numbers than group 8. Okay, so again, I want to look at things. One thing that's catching my eye about this one is that all these zeros over here with this 000. It's been really cold. I'm thinking about this purple. I'm not going to move on. See if I see anything better. Okay, so over here you can clearly see that it's been in the red a lot. The majority of the numbers have been coming up over here to the left side. I see this one dark green here. I'm thinking that this is going to be another dark green. I'm thinking that this is going to be a green number. So I'm looking over here to the left side to predict where I think the 0 is going to be. Now you can see with this red, I got a single blue, single blue, single blue, single, single, and then finally it doubles up, and then it gets really cold here. Okay, so I'm looking at this saying, okay, here's a single blue, single blue, single blue. I'm thinking that this is going to double up here. Okay, I'm thinking that the majority of the numbers will be over here. I kind of like this red. I'm going to go for this one. Okay, so I'm going to mark this blue. And the reason why I mark it blue is when I update this, I could look at it and say, hey, I got this correct. None of these red numbers came up. Or one of these numbers came up and burned me. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 3, 7, 21, 27, 30. Actually, I just stick with this square. 3, 21, 27, 30. 3, 21, 27, 30. So I'll get rid of those, and hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so the next one I got 7, 31, 32. So the 31, 32 is gone, so I'll get rid of this 7. And then I got the 38, 61. I get rid of the 38, the 61 is already gone. And the last one I got is the 40, 42, 67. So I'll get rid of the 42 and the 67. Okay, so that knocked out a bunch of numbers, and hopefully I got that correct, and none of those numbers come up. Okay, so moving on. I got 2 more option cards to choose from before I move on to Group 8. Group 8. Okay, so looking over here, bunch of green. Majority of the numbers have been coming up over here. I'm thinking that this is going to be a red number. I'm thinking this orange will have a triple hit to it. So I think that one of these numbers will come up. Yeah, I noticed the 46 a couple times here. The 46 is still in play. Again, I'll just keep that in the back of my mind. Okay, so looking at this, what I'm noticing is that these dark reds don't go very long, okay? I mean, here's a long one right here, but you can tell it's not going to be a dark red at 4 in a row, and that's clearly the longest. And then I got this 3 here. So I'm thinking that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these purple numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I'll just start with this square here. The 44, 45, 53, 54, and the 62, plus the 37. So I'll get rid of the 37, 44, 45. I think it was the 62 as well. Yeah, it was the 62. Okay, on this side, the 39, 40, 48, 49, 58, 59. So I'll get rid of the 58, 59. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on. My last option card. And again, this is what I like to see. A bunch of red here in a row. When's it going to turn blue? Okay, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that this is going to be a green number, which I believe that the majority of the numbers will be over here to the right side. And I'm kind of looking at this red here. It has 2 really dark red here. I'm thinking that this is going to be the 0. But I think I'll hold off here. So I'm going to move on to my Group 8. Again, there's 8 color groups, only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so I got 9 of these option cards, and I'm just going to go right to the overview to see what happened in the last drawing here. Okay, so here's my overview right here. Now you can see that I have some things bordered, and this is a flip-flop. Okay, it was 5-4 and then I flip-flop to 4-5. Okay, so I highlight that, I border it, because like here in the red you can see that this border is way down here. So I'm thinking it's due to have a border sometime here. So I'm thinking that this is going to be like 4/5, which means 5 of the red option cards will have a 0 to it. Okay, I'm looking over here at the pink and I'm thinking that this is going to be hot. I think it's going to be a red here, which means the majority of the numbers out of the 9 option cards were hits and not zeros. Okay, so I'm going to hit the home button. It'll bring me right back to option card number 1. And now I'm going to look at I'm going to look at this. Excuse me again. And the one that sticks out the most is this orange. I'm thinking that this is going to be a green number. And I'm looking at this orange. This is pretty long. It's been 6 red marks in a row here. Over here, this was 6 as well. It's the only one that has a lot more. There was 9 here. Here's another, well, this is 7. Again, I think the majority of the numbers will be over here on this side. So I'm going to go with this orange. And I'm going to get rid of the numbers of 18 to the 26. So I'll get rid of the 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on. Option card number 2. See what I see here. Looks like the majority has been coming up over here to the right side. And I'm thinking that this is going to be a red number, so I think the majority of the numbers will be over here. And I'm kind of liking this red to have a hit to it, so I'm thinking that 1 through the 62 plus the 18. I have no numbers here. Okay, so the 000 and the triple hits come up a lot more than anything else here. Okay, so I'm looking at this saying I think there's going to be a 000 here. So what are my options? I got the orange, I got the green, and I got the pink. I'm looking at this green. Yes, I see the orange. It had a 000 right here. I'm looking at the pink. It had one right here. But with the green, way down here. So I'm thinking that it's due to have a 000. So I'm going to pick the green. And I'm going to get rid of these green numbers. The 4 down to the 65. So I'll get rid of the 4, 47, 56, 65. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on. I got 7 more of these option cards here. Again, I look over here first. I'm thinking that this is going to be a red number, which I believe that the majority of the numbers will be over here. So again, I'm going to look over here to pick where I think the 0 is going to be. And the one that sticks out the most is this pink. I'm kind of looking pretty hot through here. I'm thinking that this is going to double up as a blue mark. And I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to go for this pink. And I'm going to get rid of all these pink numbers off of my game card. So I'll get rid of the 33. And again, hopefully that number does not come up. Okay, so moving on. Again, I'm looking over here thinking that the majority of the numbers have been to the red. You know, these dark greens bands here have been few and far in between here, so I'm thinking that this is going to double up with a green mark. Okay, so I think the majority of the numbers will be over here on this side. These triple zeros have been coming up pretty consistently here in the green. So I think I'm going to go with this. I think I'm going to go with the... You know, the thing is that they're all odd numbers here. And I think the majority of odd numbers are going to come up. So I think I'm going to scratch that. And I think I'm just going to leave this one alone and move on to the next one. Okay, so what do I have here? I noticed that a triple zero was non-existent in this last one, so maybe one will be here. So what do I have for options? I got the green, purple. And looking at this, it looks like the majority of the numbers have been coming up to the red side, which is the left side. And I'm thinking... I don't know, this one's kind of like just too sporadic here. I'm going to leave this one alone as well. And move on to number 6. Okay, so looking at this one, again, this one's been pretty sporadic as well. I guess the majority of the time it looks like it's been to the red. I'm thinking that this is going to be a red number here, though. Okay, so looking at this blue area right here. So as I scroll up, I see a single, triple zero, single, single. Finally, it doubles up, and then the rest are all just, oh, here's another double up. But I got single, 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 single. I'm thinking that this is going to double up here as well. So I'm going to go for this one. So I'm going to get rid of the 21, 22, 29, 30, and the 25, 26, 33, 34. So I'll get rid of the 29, 34. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so I'm getting down there. I got 3, 1 is 4, 1's 5, 4 is 9, 2 are 11. I'm down to 11 numbers. And I want to get down to 5. Okay, so looking at this one, I know it's the 0 here. So how many 000 options do I have? I got the orange and I got the pink. Okay, so this one's kind of hard for me to read as well. I'm not really seeing anything that I want to see, so I'm going to move on. Okay, so looking at number 8 here. First thing I notice is I think that this is going to be a red number, which I believe that the majority of the numbers will be over here on this side. And I have a 000 opportunity, and I notice a 000 hasn't come up in a while in the yellow. But what I kind of like even more is this pink, how it's single blue, single blue, single blue. Now I think this blue is going to double up. So I think I'm going to go with this one, the pink. Now you may be saying to yourself, okay, well, I know that three of these color groups cannot have a 0 to it. Why do you go with yellow and pink? I certainly could do that, but I just know that if I could just get one of these correct, getting a second one correct, the odds just go way, way up that I'm probably going to get it wrong. So again, it's about divide and conquering, and I just want to pick out one of these color groups. Hopefully I'll get it right, hopefully I'll conquer it, and I'll move on to the next one. Okay, so I don't want to push my luck here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 5 through the 9 and the 38 to the 65. So I'll get rid of the 8, and hopefully that 8 does not come up. Okay, so I got one last option card number 9. Again, I see a bunch of zeros over here. I see a bunch of red. What I see is this 000 opportunity, and I haven't seen a 000 in a long time. It's been way down here. So I'm thinking it's due. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go with the yellow, and I'm going to get rid of the 11, 19, 27. So even though that they're all odd numbers, I know that there's no numbers here on this bottom. So I'm going to go with the 57, 67. So I'll get rid of the 57, and hopefully that number does not come up. Okay, so that's all my picks for Group 8. Now I'm going to move on to Group 10. Now here, since I know that 5 of these color groups, cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, I don't mind picking like 2 here, okay? Picking where I think a 0 is going to come up in 2 of these color groups. Okay, so let's take a look at this. As usual, I see a bunch of red here. I'm thinking that this number is going to be green, which I think the majority of the numbers will be over here to the right side. And over here, a 000, this comes up really often. Here's 1 0 here. So I got a 000 in the green, in the turquoise, and the light blue. The thing about this turquoise one is, again, all the single 000s that I have. I'm thinking that it's going to double up here. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get rid of the turquoise. And I got the 43, 52, 54, 56. So I'll get rid of the 43. And again, hopefully that number does not come up. Okay, so I'm getting down there. I got 3, 6, 7, 8. I need to get down to 5. Okay, so moving on. Again, a 000 comes up a lot. What do I have for options? I got the red, orange, purple, and light blue. And I'm looking at the red because I see all these single 000s. In fact, here's the only time it doubled up. So I'm hoping that it's due to double up again. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the red. And I'm going to get rid of the 47, 50, 63. So I'll get rid of the 50 and the 63. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so I got 2, 4, 6. I got to get rid of one more number. Okay, so again, a 3 color combination comes up the most. So I'm thinking I want to keep this blue. I kind of like the 46 all along here. The only problem that I have here is I don't have enough odd numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this 57 back. Okay, I'm going to bring it back because I think the majority of the numbers will be odds. That was the last one I got rid of. Okay, so I definitely want to keep the 41, the 57, the 69, and the 46. Okay, so I want to think about getting rid of the 60, 64, and the 68. One of those, 2 of those numbers actually. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so I want to move on to my last one here. Again, a 000 usually always comes up. I got the blue, the pink, and the light blue. You can see this light blue hasn't had one in a while. But unfortunately, it only gets sort of odd numbers. Okay, so let's take a look at the blue. That gets rid of the 69. I can't have that. Okay, so one last thing that I have is the overview. And what I look for here is a 03. That means all 3 of those option cards had zeros to it. And you can see that this comes up fairly often. Okay, so here's a 03, 03, 03. I look for one that hasn't come up in a while, and they all been coming up pretty good. Kind of looking at this brown. So I'm going to look at the brown ones here. That will get rid of the 46. I don't like that. Here's the brown with the 60. I think I'll take this one. It's been pretty hot through here. Hopefully this will be a 0 and make it a blue mark. So I'm going to get rid of the 60. Okay, so now I'm back down to 6 again. And I want to get rid of either the 64 or the 68. Okay, so looking at this, again, I see a bunch of red, which the majority of the numbers have been coming up over here. So I think the majority of the numbers will be over here on the right side for this drawing. So I think I'm going to go with this orange. You can see that this orange has been really, really hot. I'm going to go for this one. And I'm going to get rid of that 68. Okay, so now I'm down to 5 numbers, so I'm going to go with this. Okay, so I'm going to go with the 41, the 46, the 57, the 64, and the 69. Okay, so now I need a Powerball number. So I have something for that. Okay, so the Powerball number that just came up was the 16. So I have this all updated here. And I'm looking at this saying, okay, well, first let me say that there's 26 Powerball numbers. There's 26 red ball numbers. So over here on this side, I just divided those numbers into 2. Okay, so if you see a blue number, that represents 1 through 13. Excuse me. If you see a red number, that's high for 14 to 26. And on this side, I just divided the numbers into odds and evens. So if you see a red number, that's odds. If you see a black number, that's evens. And you can see that a bunch of odds have been coming up lately, the majority of the time. In fact, here's the last run of evens right here, so it's been a little while. So, you know, one of the things that I noticed for our pattern is like this 23 would come up, and then the 13, then the 23 would come right back up. Okay, so that happens a lot. Like here it is with the 25, the 7 to 25. Here it is with the 6, 17, 6. The 2, 15, 2. Okay, so you get the idea here. So, you know, it hasn't happened in a little while. So I'm thinking that it's due to happen. Okay, so here's the 4, the 16 came up, and I'm thinking that the 4 is going to come right back up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card, and I'm going to say that the Powerball number will be the 4. Okay, so again, I'm going to go with the 41, 46, 57, 64, 69, and the Powerball number 4. Okay, so like Sherlock Holmes would say, it's a matter of deduction. So if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then these 5 highlighted numbers have to come up. Okay, so let's take a look at the odds. To get the grand prize, you got to get all 5 white ball numbers and the red ball. The odds of doing that are 1 in 292 million. My game is geared up for mostly the white balls, okay? So if you could just get all 5 white ball numbers, it pays $1 million. And if you play the power play like I do, it's $2 million. So that $2 million prize is there every single drawing, regardless of the grand prize, okay? So just getting the 5 white ball numbers correct is 1 in 11,688,000. Okay, so in other words, you can make nearly 12 million 5-number combinations out of the 69 numbers. Okay, so I don't want to say that this is going to be easy to do. Okay, so another great prize would be 4 white ball numbers in the red ball. That pays 50,000 plus the power play if you play it. And the odds of that are just about 1 in a million. Okay, so I like to go over my budget. Okay, so I play $3 per drawing. There's 3 drawings per week. If I play every drawing for the whole year, I will spend $468 on my game Decoding the Powerball. Okay, so in closing, I just want to thank you for watching. Again, you can support my game through my Patreon page at patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And if you'd like to give me any feedback, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, so there's no "the" in there, so it's just decodingpowerball@gmail.com. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.